विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। Hello listeners, you're listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast program on STEM popularization, catalyzed and supported by the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India and Media for Community Foundation. Project devised and designed by Dr. R. Sridhar and assisted by Ashish Tiwari. Local coordination and production, Professor Subramanian. Content writing by Priyanshu and post-production by Professor Kaushik P. Kanchan of Garden City University, Bangalore. Garden City University, conquer we shall all adversity. GCU, emphasis on life. GCU, emphasis on life. In the first part, we introduced Dr. BLV Prasad, an inspiring figure in nanoscience with a truly global footprint. Now, let's dive deeper into his scientific journey. From the banks of the Krishna River in Vijayawada to the research corridors of Tokyo and Kansas, Dr. Prasad's path reflects a blend of curiosity, dedication, and cross-border collaboration. At the Center for Nano and Soft Matter Sciences, he now stands at the helm, shaping India's research future in cutting-edge materials and nanoscale innovation. In this segment, we'll hear more about the breakthroughs his team is working on, his approach to nurturing young scientists, and what he envisions for the next frontier in nanotechnology.
Right, we need to have more and more industries taking up, right? And in general, I feel, again, this is my personal perception, right? We are little risk averse. We don't want to take risks. We want a job, right? So I think we need to also encourage people who take risks, right? All these startups. For example, many startups are coming up now, but they are mostly based on software, right? But we need to have the deep tech startups, right, who make materials, who make manufacturing new materials, who manufacture new devices, new prototypes. We need such startups, right? So that needs to be encouraged, and it is happening, but obviously it will take some time. What I see as the promising in this area is that in many of these things, luckily, we also have started quite close to where other countries also have started the research. Many a times what in past used to happen is that we used to start a little bit late. And the famous phrase is, we missed the bus, right? We did not do this in some of these technologies. We started research right in earnest, along with many of the advanced countries, right? So which should be good because the discoveries will happen here, right? So that is one good thing that is happening, that we are not lagging behind in terms of fundamental research in any of these things. As I said, if there is something that is a lack or a lacuna, it is basically translating this fundamental research to a market or an industry. So that is, I think, but several initiatives have been taken, and including more emphasis on bridging this gap, right? What we generally refer to as lab to market gap, bridging this gap, how to bridge that gap. So there is a targeted focus on that area, and then that should bring out some good changes in future, and very, very encouraged and enthusiastic about what could happen in future. What we have been now doing is trying to align our research with both national missions, whatever is announced. For example, green hydrogen mission has been announced, and we were ready to take up that research. So always we need to, in the area of research, we need to see what is there in future, right? There are two types of research. One is problem solving, and there is an existing problem and we solve it based on our science. The other one is predict the future, what will be there in future and how to do that, right? So whenever we take up a project now, we want to see how are we aligned with these things, right? So we don't do any projects that are basically may not be so much aligned, right? So we ensure that while starting a new project itself, we are aligned with one of these things. So for example, let me tell you, when this green hydrogen mission came, we were already ready, we were already prepared to make catalysts that can be used in all the three components. That a catalyst that can be used for hydrogen generation, a catalyst that can be used for hydrogen storage, a catalyst that can be used for hydrogen utilization. Right? Not only we were prepared with new catalysts, we were also prepared with processes that can make large quantities of this catalyst also. So the right thing to do now, and we have realized, and many other institutions, and especially at CeNS, is that always keep the end goal in mind and start a research. And also involve as much as possible both the startup companies or well-established companies, right? So we have expanded our reach with respect to industry connectivity and started working on global leaders, Indian leaders, as well as MNCs and startup companies. So we are now reaching out, or we are working together with all of these people, so that if there is a scope for our research to be taken to market, there is a person or there is an establishment that is ready, and then take it up forward. So as I said, right now what we have been highlighting is that trying to work with the startup companies that are already existing, right? Most of the startups work with very small amounts of funds that are available, what is called bootstrap kind of a budgets that are available, right? So what we do is we don't demand much money, but we work with them, so that they understand from the beginning what is going on. For example, when I said continuous flow, we have right now designed a continuous flow microwave reactor to make large quantities of catalyst. And we worked with a startup, right? Though they did not have so much of experience in establishing this continuous flow, we gave our inputs to them, helped them design and then execute. And I'm very happy to say that a startup company, Allsync from Bangalore, had done a great job of taking our design, making the device, or making the reactor, and then giving to us. So we do that. Another thing we are also doing is that all the PhD students that are joining with us, right, not just giving them, we have a coursework, right? Previously, the coursework used to be only on the subject. If somebody is pursuing a PhD in chemistry, they were taught chemistry. Right? If somebody was doing PhD in physics, they were taught physics. But we are now teaching them intellectual property rights, startups, how do we seek funding from startups. And we are also inviting a lot of these startup people to share their experiences with our students, because we want our students not just job seekers, but job creators. So we are encouraging the students to look for these kinds of opportunities, and if they do become entrepreneurs, that will be great. Of course, there are few awards. For example, I am a fellow of few academies of India, which are called Fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences, which is started by Professor C.V. Raman, Fellow of National Academy of Sciences, Allahabad, which is started by Professor Meghnad Saha. These are all prestigious fellowships that I received. I am also a fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry. Again, these are all rewarding. But I think what has been most amazing thing to me has been that to be able to spend time in the lab with young students and to get that a eureka moment, right? Whenever we find something, that is the most rewarding thing, right? So fellowships and awards are consequences of what the excitement we do. The most important thing, this is what I want to convey to younger generation, if at all, is that we do what we like to do, and yet have the eureka moments. At the same time, these are difficult times, right? These are difficult careers, because there will be it's a roller coaster ride. There will be sometimes very high, sometimes lows. But if you manage, or if you know how to manage them, this kind of a field is so exciting, because you meet so many people, so many youngsters. Also, you meet people from other countries who are world leaders. For example, I had an opportunity to meet Professor Louis Brew, who is a Nobel laureate, before he became a Nobel laureate, right? These are the opportunities you cherish, that because of this career that I have chosen, that I am able to do all these things. Also being, as I said, a fellow of the academy started by Professor C.V. Raman. right? The only Nobel laureate from India in the area of science, right? So these are the things that are really, really unforgettable moments that, like, I'm very happy about it.
Yes.
You were listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz, a podcast on STEM popularization, catalyzed and supported by National Council for Science and Technology Communication, Government of India. Tune in for more such episodes to Vigyan Ki Awaaz on this platform and also through Spotify, YouTube and Apple Music platforms.
आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ।